I too am America.
America, as a unified nation, is made up of individuals who bring their personal experience and cultural heritage to their communities. Whether you were born here or consider it your adoptive home, the concept of invention and reinvention, of falling down and picking yourself back up, is a cornerstone of the American dream. From the story of a second-generation Japanese-American citizen who turned a stay in a Japanese internment camp with his family into an art career based on cultural stereotypes, to an American success story made possible by food and the willingness to fight for the greater good, to a tangible call to the nation to stand together. The fabric of this nation is sewn together by each and every person who chooses to participate. I, too, am America.
I am a Sansei Japanese American, a descendant of Japanese grandparents who chose to immigrate to America to escape religious persecution. I was born on the eve of a war that the government of a country I had never known declared upon my own nation. Only 2 years old when the Japanese military declared war on America, the earliest memories that I have are with my family in the Puyalu internment camp. From an early age, I was passionate about art in my family, and teachers encouraged me to pursue this passion. I remember drawing pictures of my family and me, depicting them as what my young mind envisioned as the ideal American, blonde with blue eyes. In Shumimura Crossing the Delaware, American audiences will likely see a familiar scene flipped on its head. Instead of George Washington and his men heroically crossing the Delaware River, I have placed myself in the role of the founding father, surrounded by a band of samurai warriors crossing San Francisco Harbor. The American flag is present, as is Angel Island, the historic site of Asian immigrant detention, interrogation, and processing. This self-portrait defines national American identity through the lens of the personal identity. Just like when I was a child, I am attempting to depict what I see as the ideal American, one who reflects the diversity of the country. I was born in America, my ancestors came from across the world, and the American narrative would be incomplete without my story. I too am America.
Shimamura uses art to convey his identity. I use food to express mine. Food can nourish the body and feed the soul. Food made with love never says the wrong thing or discriminates based on color. But people who serve food can discriminate. In the early 1900s, few restaurants served Black people, so it was within the home. Culinary traditions from Spain, France, and Africa were mixed, perfected, and passed down from generation to generation. We call this food Creole, and it became our soul food. The home-cooked meal was all most of us had ever known. Yet as World War II changed the nation, I got a job at a classy for whites-only restaurant in the French Quarter. Through cooking, I overcame social and economic barriers. On Friday nights in the 1940s, workers leaving their jobs on the Mississippi River went a few blocks west to 2301 Orleans Ave, where they were welcomed into what is now my restaurant, Dookie Chase's. While po' boys were served and glasses filled, checks were cashed. Dookie's doubled as a bank, as most other banks were deemed white only. Supporting each other economically and socially, Dookie Chase's was a place where the Creole community convened. Everyone coming in at that time saw a sandwich shop, except for me. I saw chandeliers, white tablecloths, and sit-down service. When I married jazz singer Dookie Chase and inherited the restaurant, I made it my life's mission to make this vision a reality. Bit by bit, I transformed Dookie Chase's into a fine dining experience. I kept the doors open when others closed them. My restaurant became a nexus for both Black and white civil rights activists. They would come here to meet, and of course, I would feed them. Thurgood Marshall, Dr. Ralph Abernathy, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and others that were part of the Freedom Riders. Oh, there was the occasional letter of malintent, but generally people respected us because we respected them. I always said my job was always to feed people. It was not by accident. I was feeding the people fighting for equal rights, my rights. I, too, am America.
Even though each of us express individual identity through different mediums, such as art and food, we endure hardships together. The people you call Native Americans came to Turtle Island, what you call North America, thousands of years ago. After exploring the continent, our ancestors developed into the American Indian nations of today. Over the years, they developed cities, customs, and languages, in addition to preparing land for grazing pasture and growing crops. Utah was named by the Spanish after my tribe, the Utes. My American name is Jenny Ann Taylor, but my Indian name is Chapuz. I live on the Uintah and Ouray Reservation in northeastern Utah, where Fort Duquesne is located. My brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, fathers, mothers, and cousins cultivated and shaped this land. As we cared for it, so too you desired it. Time and again, we found ourselves trod on, beaten down, and denied our connection to the land, even after signing our own treaty with the U.S. government on October 14, 1868. Yet we, of the nations, consistently strive to do our part to uphold the agreements that have been made. I began this piece frustrated with the lack of information regarding American Indian history. This beaded flag is made up of quotes from American Indian leaders and the names of 456 American Indian tribes. They are the original people who shaped this land, visible in the stripes, uniting us as two peoples bound to each other in the development of a new nation-state. After the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, however, the flag took on another dimension, standing together to defend what we have all worked to create. I, too, am America.
We explored the stories of a small cross-section of what it means to be American, to identify as a culture with seemingly no fixed identity. We shared stories of individuals and the art and objects through which their voices speak. And while there is no denying that their voices speak strongly for the individual identity, there is also no denying that they shout, I, too, am America. A reimagined piece of Americana with undeniable Japanese influences that represents inclusion and appreciation through art. A chef's jacket that acts as the symbol of determination and endurance to create a life that unifies through food. And an inalienable American symbol crafted upon the identities that preceded the freedoms it represents. These individual pieces are woven together with a common thread, America. There is no shape, color, size, or any other physical attribute that is a vessel for the American identity. Nor do these three pieces cover the entire story. What we do learn from these pieces, however, is a desire to coalesce, to belong, and to be part of something larger, something fluid, that represents ideals, values, and the opportunities for individual identities to fit within the overarching narrative of the American story. We, too, are America.